Right. Thank you guys. If you guys can mute yourself, your background, much appreciated. I'm Bill Feggins, CEO of Retire EDU Connect. We're more of an AI driven IMO. We have a few platforms for lead generation that we have on social media sites, but we also have a big new platform that's going to compete with all the competitors coming up in May. As you guys are hearing more about this, it's going to be revolutionary. We're big on tech, okay, and we're big on grassroots. You're going to notice that I've been with Transamerica probably since 2007, I think, 2006, very long time. I've been writing a lot of business with them and working a lot through all the highs and lows. And right now, this product we talked about Final Expense Express since July, and what happened was Steve Weber actually was so gracious to talk to me and give me a call, saw my YouTube page, and was so shocked because I'm an influencer, just like Cody Askin. I'm probably like the other side. He was amazed how we was able to articulate and break down this great product that they came out with that Scott's going to go over. I'm not going to steal your thunder, Scott. But what we wanted was a product like this that could be very easy and accessible, online to write 10 minutes, check the MIB. I'm a big believer in checking the MIB, not a script check, that's the baby of it, but an MIB check up front. Because if we have any deaths, at least they ran their MIB first. So majority of the time, or 99% of the time, it can pay out that claim. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer, of getting agents paid and keeping their book of business, and getting directly contracted, because of all of the ups and downs out there and being burnt out in the final expense industry. And I'm also a big believer in, underwriting, people of getting them first day coverage. If they maintain, good health and taking their meds and seeing their doctors, that they can maintain, first day coverage, and also estate planning. A lot of times the final expense clients we serve, majority of them don't have a living will, or a power of attorney. So having these tools and having and access to them, it's a great product, and also a great lead generation force over here. What we do with direct mail, what we do is how we awaken a wec mail too. If they're old leads, self-generating table events, these things like here, because we have a product value proposition that no one else has, and you don't see out there in the market. It's very easy. A lot of agents are going to tell you guys probably around the end, or some testimonials, doing table events, vending outside, using this product, using this estate planning simple checklist is a way of driving leads and writing business. And comparing a lot of them have predatory life insurance. That's products they sell in the mail over the phone, or don't do an MIB up front. So you can do an application with some other carriers and just check off no. A client may mistakenly get that they had a stroke, or let's say a heart attack or something, didn't tell you, and you end up missing it, and you put in that application and saying it's super preferred, and it gets approved. You know why? Because they only did a script check. Script checks are not the best, because some medications could be used for other comorbidities. Okay, so that could be an issue, but a true MIB check or a LexisNexis check will check the whole body of the person, of their medical records. And I really believe in that, because we had people that died in the first 2 years. The whole purpose of life insurance is love insurance, is to get people protected just in case something may happen to them. And with people with high comorbidities, this is the product that's needed. So this way it can pay out the claim in a timely and efficient manner, definitely to the funeral home and whatever's left. So I just want to say all of that, guys, that we're here. I'm going to put my contact information there, and also our contracting link. We can always talk contracts. We have contracts, all the way up to 150%. Okay. For people who meet the production requirements, of Transamerica's production requirements for other carriers you have. So contracts, we have that. Marketing, we have that. Is product now, and getting paid right now is the biggest thing. So as you guys see me and Scott do a couple tours around the country and stuff like that, bring this to you guys, or a couple boot camps what we've been doing last year. We're going to bring this probably to a lot of you guys' towns. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that bell and that notification, so you guys can get those updates whenever we do post something on our YouTube page. Other than that, I'm going to pass it over to our regional vice president, Scott Grody, and you can take it from here. Thanks, Scott.
Right on. Thanks, Bill. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Scott Grody. I am an RVP or wholesaler here to support you all. Great to be here with you and appreciate everybody's time. Today, I'm going to talk about a few things. We're going to go pretty fast paced. If you guys have any questions along the way, of course, feel free to ask. We can make this conversational. It doesn't just need to be me talking at you for an hour. So feel free to ask any questions along the way. We're going to discuss a few of our updates that we made to our new FE Express product. So this final expense product we launched at the end of last year and we're already making enhancements to make it better. We're not going to stop now. We're going to continue to make improvements to this thing, but I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things that we that just recently went live. So this is like last week and the week before these things went live. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about the IUL bonus that we just started as well. We'll talk about our term reprice, and then I want to tell you guys about our incentive trip, and hopefully everybody can qualify for that. We can go have a good time. So with that, I'm going to share, excuse me, my contact information in the chat for you guys. Be sure to save my info, phone number, email address are in there. My two internal partners, Chris and Jason, they're an extension of me. I happen to do a lot of travel and presentations, so if I'm not available to get back to you guys quickly, you need a quick answer, reach out to Chris, reach out to Jason. Trust me, they will take care of you just as well as I will. And again, sometimes they're a little bit more readily available than myself when I'm traveling. So feel free to save all three of our contact info. If you need a friend from Transamerica to support you, to help you out with something, call one of the three of us. All right, with that, again, that's in the chat already. Hopefully, Bill, everybody can see that. I think I've sent it to everyone. Sometimes it just goes to a few, but that should be in the chat for you. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the enhancements that we have made recently. As soon as I share my screen. Right. We see that okay? Cool.
You can see it.
All right, Bill. Just a fair warning on this. This is not compliance approved yet. Please do not share this out with anybody. Okay. This is a closed door meeting we're having right now. So these are the enhancements we made, but again, please don't put this out there on the internet right now, as this is not compliance approved yet. So again, these are the enhancements we're going to go over today, right? Real quick highlight of this product. The FE Express, as I mentioned, was launched at the end of last year. It's a game changer, guys. This product is 100% instant decision. There's no back and forth with new business. There's no back and forth with underwriting. There are zero amendments. When you go through the application, you get the approval in the app before you put in beneficiary and banking information. So the whole app itself will take you about 10 minutes to complete. What you do is you put in personal info for the client, they answer the health and lifestyle questions, they sign it, you sign it, and then boom, within seconds, they get an approval right there in the application. Again, it's simplified issue, final expense. This is not guaranteed issue. Okay, we will decline folks. We're going to talk a little bit about the underwriting enhancements we made here. First and foremost, I want to show you guys just the agenda. Underwriting enhancements, policy promise, and Social Security billing is what's in this presentation deck we're going to talk about. So first, look, guys, want to say thank you for everybody who's been able to submit business with us. It has been incredible this year, and we look forward to doing a lot more business with you. We're all about getting folks approved for day one coverage, okay? A day one coverage is the most important thing, and we're doing it as much as possible. Our underwriting is super lenient. Specifically, there's four areas for single conditions where we set ourselves apart from other carriers, right? You can see in bold on the screen here, congestive heart failure, COPD. I'm going to go back here to the next one. Diabetes with neuropathy, complications, heart attack, heart disease. These are all single condition, day one coverage conditions that we will approve folks for that some carriers won't even approve somebody for or will push them to graded, right? So if you have somebody who has CHF, your best chance of getting them day one coverage is going to be with Transamerica. Okay. COPD, diabetes with neuropathy, diabetes with coma, heart attack, heart disease. Again, these are all areas where we really do set ourselves apart from the competition. But it doesn't stop there. And something I want to say too is, Bill mentioned how important underwriting is, how important it is to, kind of pre-qualify your clients, right? I want to stop here for a second and mention, right, our fast data that we're getting to underwrite this stuff at lightning speed is so good these days that nothing is slipping past the goalie. And what I mean by that is if there's something in their medical records, it will be found, right? So it's important to try to be upfront about it as much as possible so that, when you guys are underwriting for your clients, you're giving them the best available product, right? So just try to urge, your client to be upfront and be honest about everything that they've taken, every health history thing that they can remember. So that way, when you're underwriting, you can provide the best service and give them the best product available. Now, just generally speaking,
Scott, you still there?
He froze.
Scott, I think you froze.
Yeah, I thought it was me for a second because I'm driving.
give them day one coverage. It's insane. Day one coverage with all that going on. Now, one thing I do want to mention is when you see these things on the screen here, COPD, diabetes with neuropathy, MS, Parkinson's, that's according to this screen, according to underwriting, we would approve this client for day one coverage. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard by now the word Milliman, right? It's a love-hate relationship with Milliman. What Milliman does is it's taking all of the health history behind the scenes and it's creating a score. And basically, the way it works is if the client's 0.06 to 4, they'll get select day one coverage. If their score is from 4.01 to 5, they'll get graded. If they're over 5, it's a decline, right? So it's basically saying on that Milliman report, it's providing a whole health score, if you will. So something to remember, if you see these things on the screen and you say, well, my client was declined still, and I don't know why. Unfortunately, it's probably because there's more things that were found.
Hey, Scott, are you there? I guess from his end it's freezing up. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. He's freezing up.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
All right, I'm letting him know. He might jump off, and he jumped off, so he's gonna come back. So when he comes back on, I get you guys back in, and then he'll go back
Hey,
to.
Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me make you host again.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
All right, I appreciate that. We're back in action. So I think we got disconnected there for a moment. Apologies for that. Excuse me. All right, all good on your end?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So here's another example. This gentleman is age 65. He's got CHF, Parkinson's disease, depression, Crohn's, and we're giving him day one coverage select. So we're basically saying because none of these conditions really make each other worse, we're still going to offer you day one coverage, where a lot of carriers in a scenario like this would probably push this client to a graded or decline. All right, one big change that we made recently. So this is, again, this is a closed door meeting. This is not compliance approved yet, so apologies. Please don't share this. One of the changes we made was originally when we launched this product, hospitalizations, if they were 2 or more nights, for whatever reason, we were declining. It didn't matter why they were in the hospital, we were declining automatically. It wouldn't go, we wouldn't take into account their health score, we wouldn't take into account anything else. What would happen is the underwriting would see that they were hospitalized for 2 or more days, and then boom, is auto decline and on to the next. That's changed. So now we've moved it to 3 or more days, but with that, we're also considering the reason for the hospitalization, right? There are scenarios out there that are not life-threatening, where a client could be in the hospital. Maybe they have a surgery and they stay an extra night because the doctors want to be safe, or there's a complication. It's again not life-threatening. And so the client's health score, right? We talked about that 0.6 or 0.06 to 4, right? Maybe they're a 1 or a 2, right? Their health score is actually really good, but because of the hospitalization, we would have previously declined them. Now that's not the case. Now we're taking into account all the information, and we're going to see more approvals go through because of that. Overall, with the enhancements we're making to underwriting, and we'll keep talking about that. But overall, what we're going to be doing is improving. I think underwriters are undershooting or underselling this. I don't want to oversell it. I think they're shooting for about 5%. I think when we talk about this more, you guys will see it's probably, I think it's going to be more than that. But regardless, we were already lenient before, and I think we're going to get, that much more competitive. All right, a few enhancements here. What's changed, right? So we're going to remove independent comorbidities like diabetes and kidney failure. We're removing irregular heartbeat, chest pain, and CAD as a comorbidity. Instead of 2 conditions, we're going to consider comorbid risk on cases that have 3 or more, right? When they say that they as an underwriting expect approvals to go up by about 5%, when I see this, I think like it's got to be more than that, right? If we're going from 2 comorbidities to 3 alone, I mean, there's got to be more clients that have been declined for this in the past. So I think this is going to be a big step in the right direction to get more folks approved. But this is the slide that I am just shocked by. This is a slide that I'm really excited about. Again, you're going to see on the screen here the old risk classes on the left, right? So before COPD and stroke was graded, now COPD and stroke would be considered for select day 1 coverage. Right? Lupus, irregular heartbeat was graded. Now you can see it's select day 1 coverage. Right? CHF and diabetes, select day 1 coverage. So I'll bring these all up here so you can see them, and then we'll pause for a second. Again, what I want to kind of drive home here is, right, these are, based off of these conditions, we would approve these folks, right, for select or graded, as you can see on the screen. The other factor that we can't see is that score that I talked about, right, that overall health score. So that's why I like to say, look, if you guys get a decline, unfortunately, right now, it'll say, unfortunately, your client's declined. In the future, what's going to happen? It's going to tell you. It sounds like this is just a few weeks out. It's going to tell you the reason for the decline, right? So, because our underwriting, because our fast data is so good, folks sometimes are a little bit, confused why they would be declined, right? Oh, I thought I just had COPD. It turns out, no, they had COPD and a laundry list of other things that came up in their report, right? So in the future, the next few weeks, it's going to tell you the exact reason why they were declined, right? So it's going to give you the list of all the things that came up in their report. Right now, if you really want to know, you can reach out to Milliman, and they will send the clients a report of their Milliman report. Unfortunately, it takes about a week, is what I hear, to get that back from them, but that is an option. But the big takeaway here, look, we were already pretty competitive as far as underwriting, pretty lenient, just generally speaking. What you see on the screen here is, in my opinion, really aggressive, right? This is, I think, where we're really gonna, get more approvals. get more folks approved for day one coverage, which is again the most important thing here. Any questions on the underwriting piece so far? Anything that pops up comes to mind?
Hey, good morning. This is Joe.
Hey Joe, how you
How
doing?
you doing? Yeah,
Good, good.
I'm excited. I just wrote my first one. I'm ashamed to say that though, but I used to be I used to write Transamerica like every day, but now that you guys are back and I was able to get my first app in, I want to see how things go. I'm be pushing you guys real hard. So my question is the is the underwriting a little bit more relaxed because now we find that people are living a lot longer with these conditions?
I don't think it's that. I mean, I think that personally, I think that carriers have known. I think, for Transamerica specifically, who I can speak to, we have data from over 2 million death claims, right? And now we're able, with AI, like we're using AI to assess that information and connect dots in ways that we've probably never been able to in the past. So I think that the information's been there. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, like people have these conditions, live a little longer, but then my question is, well, why are other carriers not doing this? They should know the same information we know, right? This shouldn't be a surprise that somebody with COPD and stroke, is going to live their life expectancy should be, whatever, right? You'd think most carriers would be in line with that. I think that I think it's kind of a mix. I think that we have really good fast data, which again allows us to protect ourselves, right, as a company for underwriting. Because like I said, things are not sneaking past us, right? We're finding everything. So I think we're able to be very accurate with our underwriting and know exactly what we're getting into, right? Exactly the risk that we're taking as a company. Um, I don't know. I also think that, us as a carrier, like you said, we're coming back or we're back, right? Uh, I think we're really aggressive right now because we need a big win. We want a big win, right? We haven't really launched a game-changing product or something really exciting in a long, long time. And we've kind of not been great partners to you guys for a while. And I think this is to show like, we're back, we want your business. And our underwriter is, actually our chief underwriter who is heading up the project for this product specifically. She's on the phone with my boss, our national sales director, getting feedback from like folks like Bill and CJ who are giving us feedback on what they're seeing, and then we relay it up, and they're making adjustments like we're seeing today. Like they're coming back and going, okay, like we can get a little bit more aggressive here. We'll make these adjustments to get, collect more approvals here, and we feel good with that risk. So, I think too, like whenever a carrier launches a product, usually they launch it with a bit of some barriers, some guardrails. So yeah, we were competitive, we were aggressive, I think, to begin with. But now that we know like how things are functioning, now we have real live data of thousands of policies already. Now we can, massage things and adjust things to become more competitive in specific areas. So I think that's what we're seeing right now.
I think it's great, Scott. That's why I asked the question because we needed this
Yeah,
kind of support. So I think it's great, and I'm gonna work with this product a lot. So that's why
for
I asked the
sure.
question.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna
Joe
pop
wrote
over
a
to this next.
$200 a month policy
Ooh,
yesterday on a client that was a nurse, and she was looking for it, and in 10 minutes, it got approved. And because of the estate planning and everything, and a high contract level, in 10 minutes you made thousands of dollars. No holding bars, no none of that stuff, guys. I mean, just that was amazing. And she was good to go too. So these are the type of clients you guys are seeing, or maybe existing clients, and she's getting good, and she got $40,000 of coverage. So
that's awesome.
I'm done.
Instant, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and we pay
10
quick.
minutes.
We should be paying a high commission to you guys. and it should be paid out within 48 hours, so long as they're not doing credit card or debit card, right? If you're doing Social Security billing, if they're doing bank draft, we're sending that payment out quick to you guys. So be prepared for that. Um, this slide here just kind of talks about our adjusted, three comorbidities that we talked about. You can see tobacco use with oxygen is going to be a decline for us still, right? That's just two, right? But the rest of those on the screen, just examples of where it's currently at. Now, this is the slide I'm excited about. This is another one that I think our underwriters were a little shocked to see how many declines we got from memory loss. Now, memory loss isn't specifically dementia in medical records, right? This is just somebody, meets with their doctor, maybe an annual visit or something, and they mentioned that, they're having a hard time remembering something. Well, what's changing, right? We will only decline for chronic memory or memory loss within 2 years. So said differently, if it was memory loss in their report that was greater than 2 years ago, we will consider them for coverage. Okay. Before we made this enhancement, we were declining automatically for anybody who had memory loss in their records, right? So that's changed. Again, I think this alone, they say, is going to be anywhere from 2 to 5% and reduction in declines. So that's another piece. Memory loss was something I think that, we probably sometimes when we see the doctor, we don't realize what we're sharing sometimes, and they're writing it down and it puts a code in, and all of a sudden, they're getting declined coverage for something kind of silly like this. Now we're approving them, if it was in their records, more than 2 years ago and they haven't had anything additional added to that in the last 2 years, we're still going to, consider them for coverage. All right. This one I'm pretty excited about. This is the new policy promise. This is available now. This is live. When you submit a policy, if you were familiar before, what would happen is they had a future draft date, right? Say I take the application today and I want the draft to come out on the 22nd of the month. I wouldn't really have anything tangible to give the client. I wouldn't, and the client wouldn't get anything from Transamerica, right? You'd sign them up, and then, in a couple weeks on the 22nd, we would draft the premium and we would issue the policy, and then they would get something. So now what is going to be different? So now the client has the ability to get the policy promise. This is only going to be available to you guys in your portal. Okay, so you would have to give this to them. But as soon as you submit that case, you'll have access to pull this. This is an example of what the policy promise is going to look like. It's going to lay out all the details of what they've signed up for. It looks very official from Transamerica, right? So what you would do is you submit the application, you go back to your portal, you're going to pull up the case. So for Marcus here, you're going to pull up the case, and then there's going to be an option to download the PDF. Right, so it's going to be right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me zoom in. So from that last page, right, you clicked on the policy that you wanted to grab the PDF for, and then you just simply click that download PDF button. It'll download it, and then you can email it and save it, email it to the client, or print it out and deliver it if you'd like to do that. But again, this is just something we heard feedback on where there was nothing that the client was getting in between submitting the app and us issuing the policy weeks later, right? So this is to kind of fill that void so you can get them something from Transamerica in the meantime that'll help make the client feel better, and feel like they're getting something, and they're not just waiting for the policy, weeks later. So you'll see that live in your portal already. Again, when you submit the application, it's going to take you back to your dashboard here, what you can see on the screen. You simply click on that policy, that name that you're looking for, and then you're just going to download it, and you can save it and send it. All right, a few other enhancements we made recently to this product are around payment enhancements, payment improvements, rather, to make things a little bit more obvious, I think, and streamlined to avoid payment issues. So what we found was folks were getting the routing number and account numbers mixed up sometimes, or account numbers weren't accurate. So what we're going to do now is actually you're going to confirm the bank account in the app. So rather than just put it in one time, right, you're going to have to input that account number twice now. Okay. So you can't copy and paste it, right? You can't just input it one time, copy it and paste it. You've got to physically put it in twice. Again, the whole purpose of this is to make sure that we are giving you guys and the client the best chance of getting that payment to go through the first time and not finding out weeks later when we were supposed to draft that the account number didn't actually work, right? So you'll see also the routing number and account number laid out as such below here, just so that, the client and you can refer back to it. And, if they're looking at a check, they can see, okay, this is what the account number looks like. This is what the routing number looks like. And then we'll make sure that that's all teed up. And again, the whole purpose of this is just to make sure that you're not having to go back and fix payment information after you've left the house, right? We're hoping that this is a one and done application. You get them set up and you never really have to go fix anything. It should all be automated.
I have a question, Scott, if I
Yeah,
can.
hey, Michelle.
If they, let's say you got a decline on a different Transamerica product, right? Could you still take them through
Absolutely.
FES Express?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
good question. So, yeah, before I think we had more stringent guidelines around that. It's kind of the Wild West now. So if you don't get approved for, say you had somebody apply for immediate solutions in the past and they got declined, try them with this product because this product is generally more lenient than the immediate solution final expense. If they got declined for term or IUL, try them with final expense, right? So you can certainly do that. In fact, with immediate solution, the maximum they can get is 50,000, age dependent. They could technically max out coverage for immediate solution and FE Express. So they could technically get $100,000 of simplified issue insurance with Transamerica.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, another area we made some enhancements to on the application is around Social Security billing. Again, this is another thing that we found was, I think, a little surprising, but folks, I think, sometimes don't really know when they're getting paid their Social Security, when they're getting their deposit, so they're guessing. We're making it pretty obvious in the application now what date they're supposed to be getting paid on based off of their date of birth, right? So you can override it. There's a button to override it if the client's like, no, I absolutely get paid on the third of the month, and the system's saying something different. The system should be recommending 99.9% of the time the correct payment date that they get paid on if they get paid on, with Social Security billing. One thing I do want to mention, I don't know if everybody's been on one of these calls before or not, but we do true Social Security billing as opposed to some carriers out there, meaning we align the draft date with the date that they get paid. They get their deposit. We're pulling the money out within hours of it getting deposited. Further, if they get their deposit on a holiday, so they get paid, maybe the Friday before, our system knows that and our bank knows that. And that Friday before when they get their deposit, we're pulling the money out that Friday before, right? Within hours of it being deposited. And why that's important for you guys is because in that same scenario with other carriers that don't do true Social Security billing, guess what? By that Monday when they're supposed to have their draft happen, they don't have their money, right? Because they used it over the weekend, right? So they got paid on Friday and then they used their money over the weekend. And then Monday that carrier goes to draft the premium and it's not there anymore. So true Social Security billing we do, and we do it really well. So if you guys come across a client who's on fixed income, definitely take a look at us because we're in a good spot for that. But the whole idea here, what you'll see in the application with somebody who's signing up for Social Security billing, we're now making it pretty obvious what needs to be selected. Again, what was happening in the past is There were some dates that were selected incorrectly, which was by the time we go to draft, there's no money in the account, right? So this right here, again, I think we should fix those situations and help you guys keep policies on the books. All right, here's
I
a
have a
QR code.
question.
Yeah, go
I have a
ahead.
question. This is Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
When a client pays on, like, if I'm in front of them on the first of the month and they want to be immediately covered, but then their Social Security falls on the Wednesday of every month. I don't think we can switch it, but I was wondering if that can be fixed. Because I work with a lot of people that will pay immediately, but they want their drafting to fall on whatever day their Social Security billing is. Did I say that
I
clear
see what you're
enough?
saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, yeah, I don't think we have any way around that right now, Barbara, but I appreciate the feedback that you want to have a immediate pay and then future pay on their Social Security bill date, draft date. Yeah. I'll
Yes.
take that back to the leadership and see if that's something that we can get added. Because that does make perfect sense to me. Right now, we don't have the ability to do that. What they could do technically is if you wanted a workaround, um, you could do another form of payment for their first payment option to place it in force immediately. And then once it's in force, the client has access to their client portal and they can actually change their billing information in there. So they could technically, draft with the ACH, a bank account, right, for the initial payment when you're there with them. And then once that policy is active, which would be, immediately for them, they can go into that client portal and put in their, switch over the billing information to Social Security billing. So that's maybe a workaround for now. I know that's not ideal, but yeah, maybe in the future we'll be able to add that where, if it's a bank account that they're using that they get paid Social Security on, then we can draft immediately and then have a future draft date on their Social Security billing date.
Thank you.
Yeah. Here's another QR code here, training module. There's a lot of great videos. I recommend if you scan this QR code, it'll take you to this website here. We have an in-person and a virtual sales experience for this product. Both videos I think they're like 7 minutes long and really, really helpful. There's client-facing videos in here as well. Give it a second there. And then I want to share with you guys the contact information, right? So the first number you see here, please make sure you write this one down, save this in your phone. If you have any issues with the FE Express application, you need a change of billing date, something like that. That 800 number, 453-1448 number, that's who you want to call. That's the support line specifically for this product. It's the only product that they support. So save that one. And then the one below that, 866-545-9058, right? This is our sales desk, right? Our sales desk is available 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay, so they work long hours. Somebody's there to help you out. If you're in a pickle and you can't get a hold of me for some reason, call those guys. They know their stuff just as well as I do. I trust them fully. So if you're with a client, you need a quick answer, make sure you save that 866 number as well. Those are our sales desk folks. They're out of Denver, Colorado, and they know their stuff for sure. So I'm gonna stop sharing this real quick, and then let's see, how much time do we have? We got a few minutes. I'm going to Actually, first, let's do this. Let's see if there's any questions in the chat. If we can. How do I get this?
Scott, I have a question real
Yeah.
quick. So you did mention something about now, if let's say someone had, let's say congestive heart failure or whatever, but then they did have one hospital stay, right? Within a
hmm
year, that could still possibly get select.
Yeah, that could possibly get select. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like the hospital stay. Do you know how many days it was that they were in the
Um,
hospital?
I think it was like a couple days.
Yeah, like a couple days should be fine.
Right.
Where you get to three or more is where things can get dicey, right?
Right.
So three or
Right.
more, and then it'll just kind of depend, again on the reason for the stay, right?
Right. Right.
And then that overall, kind of health score that's going on behind the scenes too. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's, based off what you're telling me, I don't think it's an automatic decline,
Right.
but it's worth,
Yeah, they had
trying it
some
out.
type of respiratory cold, and so that's what, and they just watched them for observation. So, okay.
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 I see a question in here. Is a policy promise in Spanish? I'm sorry, right now I don't have any Spanish material for this one. I apologize. It's just English right now, but I'll be sure to make a note for that too and see if
I
we
have
can
a
get something
question.
like that in the future. Yeah.
Yes, wasn't sure you could hear me. Thank you. Um, for hospitalizations, how long or how far back, I'm sorry, how far back do you look to determine whether a person is
12
eligible or not?
months. Yeah, 12 months.
Okay, 12 months.
Yep. Just
Now,
one year.
what if a person doesn't have any of these chronic illnesses, but they were hospitalized maybe two times, three times within the last year for whatever else, just anything else.
Yeah, so then I think that's somebody who could be considered, right? Because, obviously we need to find out what the reason for the hospitalization is, because now we're taking that into account, right? Before it was if it was two or more, it was just automatically decline. Now we're saying, we're going to take into consideration the reason for the hospitalization. Okay, they were in a car accident, right? And they needed an overnight stay. Maybe not life-threatening. We don't expect that to be recurring. We don't expect that to have long-lasting effects necessarily, unless obviously then they have surgeries and all the other stuff that go along with it, right? They had an overnight stay because of a car accident or a broken arm or something like that. Not a big deal to us, and we would consider them.
Right, right. So I guess the chronic illnesses, the major illnesses are where it really matters. That would probably make a
Absolutely.
difference.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Hey Sky, I got a
Mary Bell,
question too.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. So back to the hospital. I have a couple questions actually. Back to the hospitalizations. You're saying like if something was not a chronic condition, but car accident related, but let's say it was a car accident related that did require them a 3 or more day hospital stay. Is that still going to be an automatic decline if they are over the 3 days, or are you still going to consider it?
So now the system's considering all, to be honest. So in that situation, car accident, acute, one-time deal, but they had to stay in the hospital for, more than 3 days. The system's still allowing that to go through the full underwriting. So we
Ah,
would
good.
still be able to consider, yeah.
So not an automatic. Okay, great. Okay, so my next question is, I know that the list that you provided of the comorbidities and the eligibility status was not exhaustive, but is there a way to see the exhaustive list to, if you know something's going to be an automatic decline, you don't even want to put your
Yeah,
client through having that on their record? Because I
absolutely.
saw where on the example you provided, there was one that said diabetes, renal failure, and dialysis. We have more and more people who have renal failure and on dialysis, but don't have that full combination.
Oh,
So
okay.
is renal failure allowed? Is dialysis allowed
Okay.
without diabetes?
Good question. I'm gonna put in the chat for you guys the FE Express agent underwriting guide. Okay. Keep in mind, this is only single conditions. What I showed you earlier with those changes of multiple conditions, right? COPD and CAD, like
Yes.
those things, that is literally the only one that they've ever given me. Okay. That's the
Okay.
only one that I've been able to get where there's been multiple things laid out like that. The only other The only other underwriting specific thing that I have is the underwriting guide that I gave you, but it's single conditions. I don't, and that's something that we've been pushing too. Like, my boss has been pushing, trying to get, what are the most common, multiple conditions that are declines and approved, right?
Right.
That are out there. And why don't we get a marketing piece that shows kind of both of those? That's what we're pushing for right now. So I think something's in the works, but right now I don't have anything additional that shows, things like what I showed you earlier with those multiple conditions and how we would rate them.
Okay. And I had one last question, which was you mentioned for commission payouts, if their initial draft is via ACH or maybe the Social Security billing, it's paid out within 48 hours. So what's the turnaround time if it's not one of those methods, like if they choose credit or debit or something?
Sorry, I should have been a little more specific on this. So on credit and debit, we actually pay as earned. Okay. So that's kind of the difference is as earned. I should have been more specific on that. It's as earned. The Social Security and the bank draft are
Advance.
advanced. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Leslie
Hey,
has a question. Oh, sorry, CJ, go ahead.
hi Scott, how are you? Just
Yeah,
want to
good.
say, so far, I appreciate you guys improving everything, and especially with the customer service part, you guys are getting a lot better. Um, Another question I actually have: do you think that you guys will actually raise the height? Because I know you go to 7 feet, but I actually got a client that's taller than 7 foot. So, but he has no health problems, and it's really hard to find him insurance just because of his height. Do you know if we would ever go higher? And then
I
another
haven't
question
had
is,
that come up yet. I will ask. I will ask. It's a unique one.
okay.
Let me find out for you, CJ.
And another question is, I noticed that some people that have thyroid issues have weight issues as well. Do you know that will they ever go up on the weight if it's just a thyroid issue or something like that? Or
I can't see them moving that anytime soon on the height weight
okay,
chart. Yeah, there's no talks or rumblings of them adjusting that right now. I think they, yeah, they haven't talked about that at all. I can ask though.
okay. And then I know I shouldn't be asking, but any news on the Express IUL?
They're still shooting for mid-year is what they're telling us. So,
Okay,
from a carrier standpoint, you know how that goes. Like just like when we launched this product, I'm holding my breath. Obviously we don't have a launch date yet, but
right.
they're saying July.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, you bet. Hey Leslie.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, my question is just simple. I got the client, a potential client whose brother has traumatic brain injury. Now, I did call into the underwriting, but all they did was forward me the same booklet that you were just showing us. And I didn't see traumatic brain injury on there. I didn't see anything that looked like traumatic brain injury. And the person I spoke to on the phone didn't say anything about it. And I was just wondering, is that covered or not?
So my thought is if it's not included in the underwriting guide, then we would consider it. The one thing is, if they have traumatic brain injury, are they in a nursing home? Do they need assistance? Things like that, that would be where the decline would come
No,
from, right? They're fully
they're getting
functional.
around fine. Yes.
Cool. Did they, then, how long ago was it? Then I think about like, were they in a hospital? How many days in the hospital were they, in the hospital for? And how long ago was that, right?
I can find that out. But
Yeah, because
you're
if
saying just
it's
go through the application and it will be determined once it's
Yeah,
submitted.
yeah, I would submit it and see because like it's going to take you maybe 4 or 5 minutes to find out. Like I said, you put in the personal info, answer the health and lifestyle questions, and then you find out if they got approved or not right there. Like it's that quick. So something like that, uh, based off our underwriting guide. and you talking to underwriting, I would say try it and see if it goes through.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to share with you guys. I'm going to share my screen. We are doing an IUL cash bonus, right? So the cash bonus just started April 1st, and this runs through June. So if you have not submitted an application with us before for IULs, if this is your first time or it's been at least since, actually, you guys can see my screen, right? Okay. At least since, January of 2022, you can receive a $500 cash bonus for your first IUL you place in force with us in April. Each additional IUL that you place in force in April, you'll get an additional $200 per policy up to $800. So the total you could make in addition to your normal commission is $1,300 in April. Right, so that's submitting 5 IULs and placing them in force, active in force with us in April. This resets each month, so April, May is going to reset, and then June. The difference between May and June is if you wrote your first policy with us in April, you got the $500 cash bonus, you won't get that same $500 cash bonus in May and June, right? So it'll start kicking in the additional $200 per policy on your second and third, fourth, right? So again, this bonus, this is going to run through June. So April, May, and June. Pretty excited about that. Minimum face amount to qualify is $100,000. And then aside from that, I wanted to share with you guys too our reprice on term. This just went live about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago as well. Look, we had pretty competitive term rates before, and they just got that much more competitive. If you look down here in Preferred Plus, age 30 to 60, we are top three 93% of the time. And this is at a $500,000 face amount. So $500,000 face amount, 10, 20, 30 year, age 30 to 60. We're top three price wise. Look, nobody's going to beat Banner, right? Every time somebody reprices, Banner goes and reprices, right? We know that. So we're just going to give that one up. But we're top three 93% of the time. Preferred non-smoker, we're top three 95% of the time. And standard, we're top three 100% of the time. So really, really competitive term rates. I had an agent, and it's not going to go this way every time, right? We can expect that, right? With term, it's a simplified issue, or excuse me, it's a non-med product, right? So we have non-med limits, but if there are things that come up in the medical history that requires the underwriter to ask more information for, they may ask for an exam, they may ask for an APS, things like that, right? So we're trying to do as much non-med and quick issue as possible. But just know that it's not a true simplified issue term, meaning we may still come back and ask for an exam or an APS or something like that.
Scott,
But I
quick question.
did have a client last. Oh, was there a question?
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go
Just
ahead.
had a quick question in reference to that they So let's say they want to get a term, but they had a little bit of issues. Would they offer them a term? Because this has the critical and chronicle with it, right?
This term that we're talking about here does not. This one has terminal. So this is a
okay.
Trendsetter Super. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then, yep, Trendsetter LB. We do have a term product with living benefits with critical and chronic, right? So
Okay,
that
so
is
this one
available
doesn't
also.
have it. Okay, got it.
This one right here doesn't have it. The Trendsetter LB is priced very competitively. I don't know what the stats are on it, but we do have that available for you also. And same, limitations, right? So they can go up to age 45, up to $2 million of coverage with no exam, and then up to age 55, they can go up to $1 million with no exam.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I was just going to mention I had an agent reach out to me last week. She had submitted a term case on on Wednesday afternoon, and on Friday she sent me a text. Holy cow, it's already approved and we're issuing the term policy. So just a couple of days, for her anyway. Hopefully, a lot of you guys are experiencing something similar to that. Like I said, we're trying to do as many of these non-med, quick issue policies as possible. And then the last thing I really want to share with you guys here, real quick, is, and then we can open up to questions, is look, we do an awesome uh, incentive trip. It's pretty, they're a lot of fun. I hope that you guys can make it. It's $100,000 of placed annual production, right? Starting January 1st through December 31st, right? So $100,000 to qualify. And this year's production will help you qualify for Cabo, Mexico next year. And it's all expenses paid, right? So we'll get the flights. You guys will go and have an amazing time at an incredible resort on the beach. Um, I would love to have you guys all join us because it is a blast. I don't know if anybody on here has been to an incentive trip before, but they're just so much fun. You get to mix and mingle with a lot of your sometimes competitors, but you can kind of pick their brains to see what they're doing differently, and it's just a good time. So we'd love for you guys to join again. It's $100,000 of production this year to qualify, and at least 5 cases. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen here. I think that's what I've got for you guys today. We can certainly open it up for any questions. Anybody has any questions at this time?
One more clarifying question, Scott. Back to the scenario where that client might make an initial payment with one method and then at some point in the future switch to a different method. So from a commissions perspective, if they started out with that ACH to get it going, that's an advance commission. But like you said, if they were to switch to credit card or something else, would there be a clawback? How would that work?
I
Going
don't
from
think we're doing any.
advance to
Yeah,
as
I
earned.
don't. That's a good question. I don't think we're doing any chargeback on that situation. I think that's a work. I think truly that's probably a workaround where you would get
Okay.
your advance, right? You get your advance payout, and then a month or two down the road, they switch it to, credit card, debit card, and then yeah, I think you're in the clear because we already paid it out, but I'll find out just to be safe.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's some more questions in the chat, Scott.
Medication knockouts, the list is in the link that I sent you, the FE Express Solutions Agent Underwriting Guide. If you open that up, there is a list of medications in there. I want to see if I can find what page it's on. Starts on page 13. Maribel, did we get your Social Security billing question answered?
No, but I'm patient.
I know you are. How are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you. Bless everybody. My question is, well, I have a client that's had initial pay, but then turned out to be Social Security billing. You guys require him to call in to be able to verify that. Of course, he's like, well, why can't you just do it for me? Because he's one of those people. My question is, even after hours, is there a way that we can service our clients with a recorded call in order to get some of these things expedited, especially when it comes to billing?
So yeah, just to be candid about the billing situation right now too, right? So we should probably talk about that for a quick second. So I, it's it's really difficult to change things once they're in motion with this product, right? So I know that's going to happen. It's unavoidable, but please, please, please urge your clients to really think about what date they want the payment to come out, what payment option they're going to use. Make sure because and tell them it's difficult right now to change this, right? It's very difficult. And to avoid that issue in the future, try to stress how important it is so that they're settled for at least the next few months until we're able to loosen up some of those and figure out the technology piece on the back end to allow for this change to happen quicker. Right now, Maribel, I don't have a good answer for you, to be honest.
The other,
Unfortunately, that's what we have to do. Yeah.
that's fine. The other thing is there a Spanish hotline that I can call in for people that just are non-Spanish, not English speaking? And so that I
I
would be the
don't.
one translating anyway. So that's my whole point about me getting them on the line and having to have them on the recorded line to say, okay, this is their voice, but you guys can take it from there.
Hmm.
Is there again somebody who is just Spanish speaking?
The only person I know that we have that can do Spanish is on our sales desk. You could call our sales desk and have them maybe get you in
Okay,
touch with him and see if he can, get on the line when you call over to that team, that 800 number, and see if he can, be there to help translate from the sales desk for you guys.
okay. Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, I just kind of skimmed through the agent guide, and with it starting at age 18 for the FE product, what is Transamerica's appetite for people who are otherwise healthy and qualify in that regard, but have a criminal record? Because I've had several clients that I could not get policy enforced strictly due to their criminal background.
Yeah, so things like felonies are on a case-by-case basis. They will be considered, here's what we have difficulty with. There's a few areas, right? So drug abuse, alcohol abuse, felonies that are violent or money laundering type situations, we have issues with. So we generally say 10 years, right? They've got to be done with probation and fees and fines and everything for 10 years before consideration can happen.
Is there a guide for that specifically?
I don't have any guide for that specifically.
I'll send it to you. I got it.
You
Oh,
do?
good.
Send it to you. Yeah, I'll text it to you. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, thanks, Bill.
look at Bill. Bill's on it. What else we got?
Got
One
it.
thing I do want to mention too, if you guys were not on any previous calls, the owner, insured, and payer must be the same person right now. Owner, insured, and payer must be the same person in order to issue the policy. Once it's in force, you can change that. Like you can change the payer, you can change the owner, but to issue the policy right now, you have to have the owner, insured, and payer be the same person. Okay. That will be updating probably around July. Unfortunately, it got pushed back a little bit. And then we're also going to be launching for those virtual sales, text to pin. So this virtual sales process is going to get a lot easier. All they're going to have to do is they'll receive a text message. They'll click the link. It's going to give them a 6-digit number. They read it back to you over the phone. You input it on your end virtually, and then that signs the application for them. So it's going to be a real smooth process coming in July for that as well.
I have a question or two. Um,
Okay,
I'm sorry, I came in a few minutes late. I was on a call.
no problem.
On a cancer, do they do anything for cancer, or is it completely a knockout? Even though people have curable or have been cured and are living longer, much longer, is that on a case to case, or is it a knockout completely?
Okay, cancer we can consider. I'll be honest, we're probably not the most. This is one area where we're probably not the most competitive, right? And with cancer, right? We're competitive in a lot of areas. Um, Bill, can you give me access to share my screen one more time? Thank you. So in the agent guide, you'll see, right, here's cancer, never treated as a decline, right? Treated within 2 years is a decline. Last treatment 2 to 4 years ago would be considered for graded, and then last treated over 4 years ago with no, coming back is going to be select.
Okay. All right, good. I'm sorry, I didn't get in earlier on that and I hadn't had a chance
Oh,
though. But
no worries. No worries. Appreciate
thank,
the question. Yeah.
thank you. The other question is on the hospital stay. Lots of questions about that. So, when you've got a client who's in the hospital and they're there for 4 days, but they really should have been out on the third day, but the hospital took so long to check them out, it flipped into the 4 day, kind of like a hotel room.
Hmm.
Is that again on a,
Yeah, it's tough like that with hospitals too, because I had a buddy who his appendix he had to have immediate
right,
urgent surgery, right? So he went into the hospital at like 10:50, and he was out of the hospital at like 12:30 a.m. and they got him for an overnight stay, right? He was there like 2 hours, and they
right.
and they gave him an overnight stay. So I get how that can show up on the records. I think now with the way that the underwriting is going around hospitalization, things like that, um, depending on that, the reason for the hospital stay is going to, factor into the waiting more than that extra day.
Okay. So
I think
if doctor orders, it's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
one thing
I
and
hope
they,
that helps a little bit.
yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have some more questions in the chat.
What is that's not required for other products like FFIUL and IUL, correct? What was that in regards to?
Uh, issuer, payer, all being the same. I mean,
Oh,
owner.
correct. Yeah, yeah. This is the FE Express. You're right. The FE Express is the only product where the owner, insured, and payer have to be the same individual. All of our other products right now, yeah, you can have multiple situations where a spouse is paying for the policy and the owner. We get that, and again, that's coming soon. Well, in the next couple of months, actually, for the FE Express. But yeah, on IULs, on term, on our other final expense, yeah, you can have different owner, insured, and payers.
I didn't know that. I'm glad somebody mentioned that. This is Joe. So the FE Express is only for the one individual.
Yes, the FE Express, in order to submit the application, the owner, insured, and payer have to be the same person. Owner, insured, and payer, same
Wow.
individual. Yeah. After it's enforced, right, the client can go into their client portal and change the owner and the payer. That can happen, right? So that's a workaround right now. So you get
Oh,
that
okay.
first premium drafted, get the policy issued, and then once it's enforced, okay, now I'll make my spouse the owner of the policy and the payer. You can do that. Um,
Okay, so starting out, you could have that one person be the owner, payer, and the insured, and
right.
then
Yeah, that's
say
that's a
like
workaround right now. Yeah.
like
And
three to
then,
six
like so
months in, you could change it.
you could change it immediately, actually. Yeah, once it's in force, once the policy is active and
Oh,
in
I
force,
got you.
yeah,
I got you.
yeah, you can change it immediately. The what's going to be changing is the application itself will allow for the owner, insured, and payer to be different individuals when you're submitting the application itself. That's going to be changing in July, is what they're telling us.
Oh, okay. Because I got a situation where a sister wants to pay for a brother's policy, and I'm glad
Hmm.
that was mentioned because I would have been out of, I would have
Yep.
been out of
Yep.
compliance if
No.
I did that way.
Yeah, for that,
Thank.
yeah, we wouldn't be able to do that structure right now to issue the policy. But like I said, you could get it if they're okay with having the owner, insured, and payer be the same person to issue it, then you could immediately change those individuals.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah, so heart disease, heart condition, yeah, considered for day one coverage. Is there a difference from a person having a stroke and then going to the doctor and due to a reading, having what's called a mini stroke, and again, it was unknown. I mean, a stroke, like TIA, like that, we would consider that for day one coverage. Um, I don't know if I don't think it would matter much. Like our underwriting should know, and based off the codes that the doctors input, what specifics, they need to know about the stroke. But generally, yeah, stroke would be day one coverage for us.
I put the underwriting guide for you guys to look at some stuff right there in the chat, and also I'm texting it to you guys too, because you can look at it. Even though it's older, like Scott said, and it doesn't have the 3 comorbidities on there, but it's fine. What we're doing anyway is that we're just running a client because we can run them, see if they get approved before payment. This is what you want to do. So, for example, we're running checking clients, matching whatever they currently have if they're in a predatory life insurance policy or something. And let's say if it's $60 a month, we'll see what $60 gets you. Congratulations, it'll pop up and say you're approved up to $50,000. Okay. And what happens is we select how much they can afford. They can stay at the 60, or maybe they got some more coverage because it's priced great. If the client's over 62 for Transamerica FE Express. And what we're seeing is on our end is that the value added benefits with the Everest Funeral Concierge Service and everything that's along with the estate planning and everything is bringing more value to the client. But we're running the client instantly just to check. So if I would say, hey, Mr. White, let's check and see if you can get approved first. It takes 10 minutes. Okay. Before we go in for payment, let's see if you get approved. Comes up, congratulations, little confetti comes up on the screen on the app, and it says you got up to $50,000. And you select how much coverage you want from there. So you actually get approved for the whole 50 and just select how much you can afford. So what Joe did was with a client, it was 230 for 50,000. So she said, let me just do 195. She did 195 and she got 40,000. And then she picks the payment date. You know, it could be a month out, but she said she wants it right away. Once she does it right away, she'll get an email to open up her Everest portal. And now she can do her estate plan, her will, living will, power of attorney. She has cloud-based service in there and everything. She can select where she wants her funeral at, select the actual funeral home. She can look at the prices of the funeral home. She can write that in her will. So she's getting real comprehensive funeral planning along with a policy that's been through the medical records up front. So if Miss Jones were to pass away 1 year from now, okay, Transamerica probably, again, like every company does in the first 2 years, that they're still going to run another MIB. But typically everything was the same when she first came in those first 2 years. So that policy just pays out. That's what you want in a policy, unlike other ones who just pushing, let's do 30,000 in coverage. They're just pushers and with commission breath. The problem with that is they'll clean sheet. The client may not be honest up front, and they might be just doing a script check. They don't do an MIB. Why? Because they're cheap. They don't want to run it. It's costly. With this system, with this e-app, MIB instantly. So it tells the client right there on the spot, you got approved. And with all those heart issues and things like that that's going on around in our community with bad diets and everything, a lot of these people have comorbidities. So now you can get up to almost 3 and get first aid coverage along with estate planning, and your contract's over 100+% or something. That's ridiculous. Okay, so it's a win-win-win for everybody wins. The client wins, you win as an agent, you're maintaining that book of business is yours, you're getting residuals for life off that. And you're happy, they're happy, they're giving you referrals. And that's what we want in the first place. And that's our whole system here at Retire EDU Connect, is that you guys are watching something exclusive, right? And I know I'm not going to put this out until Scott gives me approval. But you guys are seeing something ahead of the curve, what's going on out there right now. And you guys are in front, of the best product out there. And if they get a decline, we have another product that's a guaranteed issue product. So they can't lose. Okay, so trans is the one we have. That's the purpose of us being a broker, because we have that. So, and they still advance off that product too, 6 months advance, because you're not getting that with the other ones anymore. It's as earn now. So you have a win-win. So if we're doing table events, we're doing something, we have this little free checklist booklet we show clients. It's a trifold, and it's just a will, living will, advanced directives, highlights, but it's just a checklist. But they can get the real deal, and I show my clients the real deal by showing them the on my YouTube page or Everest Funeral Plan. I show them what they can get by getting this product. So what happens? So in America, you can buy as many policies as you want. So we're not replacing anything, but they sure can look at another product that's better that comes with an offer. And it's up to them if they're going to keep that other policy, paying it or not. But that's up to them because, they're citizens and they can buy whatever they want. So if they do get another policy, this is a great value prop for them to match whatever they currently paying or get more coverage. Okay. And it's an instant decision. So understand, guys, we got to that level of technology now that it's instant decision. And where people are still writing paper apps or people are still, we're doing it on our iPads and tablets. And it takes 10 minutes. I'm just plugging in stuff. So if I'm bundling Medicare Advantage, I'm bundling it. It can come out later. I can save their information and call them back. Maybe I have their application from their Medicare Advantage and I can just quote them up and get their information over the phone. It's already my client. You could do all of that, guys. We're doing that. We're bundling and cross-selling this from Medicare. We're cross-selling this final expense. We're talking to the beneficiaries because we're doing a real last will and testament, living will for them. So we might talk to their beneficiary to name an executor of the estate. That brings up a potential of an IUL. That's how Joe is getting a client now referral. So we're getting into the kids too because I do their estate plan for them. As soon as they get the link, I can log in. They can. The Everest is an app. They can get the on an Android or they can get it on Apple. They get an email. Once they get that, we can go in there. And guys, I have training videos how to do that. You can go in there and you can help them do it. It's just click and they can do their own will and go to their bank, print it out, go to their bank, get it notarized. Boom, estate plan done. And those estate plans on average are $900 to $1,500. They're getting it with the plan. So it's a win-win-win. So if you can use their value prop and stop being caught up on praise recruiting or I did 20,000 this month. It doesn't matter if you had a 60% contract. It doesn't matter if the product costs too much. What value prop do you have better than estate planning that comes with it? Tell me, and I will sell it. Nothing. So that's why when this product came out, it was a game changer. It was revolutionary. It was going to change the industry because I just knew right from there things are just going to get better, and it just did. It just got enhanced. So with memory loss. So we have clients that may be at the first stage of dementia and they may have it years ago. I'm going to just check and see what does it hurt them? It's not going to do a credit inquiry. How does it hurt them checking their MIB? So, and if they get coverage and it says it, congratulations. I turn the laptop around and show it to them and say, look at this. You got approved. The client's like, whoa, right, Joe? Joe, can you give like a 2-minute what happened, what you just did? You just did it yesterday. Can you explain what happened?
Yeah. It's my client. I know back. She went off anyway. Get to the point. She's 67-year-old female. She's a nurse, and I went through the FE Express product, and it was so quick to fill out the application that blew my mind. Then on top of that, when I finished at the end, it said, congratulations, you're approved. So I kind of turned the laptop around. I said, wow, you approved fast. And she was like blown away. She was like, wow, they do it that fast? I said, yes, they do it that fast. And then I remember Scott mentioned in the part where they give you the promissory thing at the end. It did. I saw that. It came up and I printed it out and I let her walk away with that. So it was a good experience. And like I said, she was blown away how fast she was approved.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We appreciate that, Joe.
No problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are blown away by it because it is a true game changer how quick it is. And that's why a lot of people now are just leading with this product for final expense. They're going, shoot, I can get an approval. Their underwriting is lenient. They pay quick. They pay a lot. They get Everest, you know, and for what? It takes you 4 or 5 minutes to get the approval. And then from there, you know, if they get approved, you can move forward and put in beneficiary and banking info and be done in 10 minutes. Or, you know, if they don't get approved, you just pivot, right? But you have an answer. Right now, you know, well, shit, Transamerica's not going to approve them, so they didn't approve them. Let's go to guaranteed issue. You spent 4 or 5 minutes on it, and now you know what the best option is, right?
Scott, I had a question. So how long is contracting now? Because people are jumping in now, right? So people start to get contracted. So is contracting now backed up now because we were getting writing numbers in 5 to 7 days. Now it's like 3 weeks now because they're jumping on board, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, the word's out about this product for sure. And everybody and their mother is trying to get approved right now. So yeah, we're about 3 weeks out from getting a contract through. So I apologize for any delays if anybody's dealing with that right now. I used to have a contact I'd lean on and get some stuff pushed through, and I've been stonewalled lately because it's just at the point where, like, I mean, they're working weekends, they're working overtime. The team over there is hustling to get caught up, but there's thousands and thousands of agents who are trying to get contracted right now. So you're not alone if you're trying to get contracted. I apologize. If you haven't sent in contracting paperwork, please get it in as soon as possible, and then expect a few week delay on that.
I'm sending you guys through the chat the contract link. We can always talk. You can text me via cell phone. Um, if you guys want to, we can go over contracts. But guys, get in. We have training videos. Me and Scott is done. We have so much stuff going on behind the scenes, guys. We'll hold your hands. I know you guys are sitting on books of business or clients you haven't dealt with in years, or maybe they fell off the books. Maybe they're graded. Maybe they were turned down. Maybe this is the solution to getting them first day coverage. And I know you guys are thinking right now, who can I get first day coverage? Why don't you just try? It doesn't hurt to put them in the system. It doesn't hurt. It's like, let me just try and see what the AI will do and generate everything with, especially with the three comorbidities. Now, is that in play right now? So are the three comorbidities and wow. So
All live. Yep.
wow. So it doesn't hurt. And also if you guys, well, I have a Transamerica writing number. If if you're not with World Financial, you guys want to get with me, just text me. You can have multiple, writing numbers. You can get with us. You get probably a higher contract, more than likely, and you'll get the support and you'll get the AI type of technology and everything we have for lead gen. So because our contracts are higher than some of the IMOs out there. I mean, some of the IMOs that guys are pushing out there, I'm not going to name no names. They're like at 120. And I'm like, really? That's the highest. Wow. I was like, whoa. We give that out like a Pop Tart over here. Okay. So we have it. So you guys can get some good contract levels. I'm talking to the experienced agents out there on YouTube that's watching it once this is approved, Facebook and everywhere. You guys can get that and come together and we can issue and push this together. Face-to-face product and it's virtual events. Yeah. It's you select. It says I write too, in person or face to face. And if it's virtual, then it'll send a text message to your client. They have to log in, put in their social and their date of birth to verify them, and then they actually will can continue. That's how that works.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Scott. You should take that.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You nailed it. Yeah, no, you nailed it. Yeah, it's virtual or face to face.
I'll put
Doesn't
it
matter
out
to
there.
us.
Joe knows,
Yeah.
and people are watching me like Bill's putting in stuff. Because it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm seeing Medicare clients, and I'm just checking. Like, let me see your life insurance policy. They be like, "Well, before I got life insurance, I know everyone says they don't know what they have, and they may have like this UL that's from 10 years ago that's not at Target. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And
About to
it's going to
lapse.
explode and it's going to lapse and things. CJ just had one, and we're able to go ahead and put them in something better here. I'm catching people with term, increasing term, decreasing term, and I'm looking at it and I say, well, let me just run you. See, here's the thing: it doesn't hurt. Everybody is okay with just running them to see if they get approved. I'm telling you. Well, what happened in the past is that in order to do that, you have to put their banking information and all that, right? No, we're just checking to see if you get pre-approved. And if you can get pre-approved, great. As soon as I turn the computer around, like, great, you've been approved. They want to move forward. Why not? With all the benefits that they're going to get. So what happened was I ended up gaining that client that had an inferior product. Okay, even though it may have been my client for Medicare, but I gained their life insurance. I'm doing it over and over and over again that I don't even count how much premium I'm doing a month. I don't look at it. I just write because I'm not so big on praising, even though I talk to you guys all the time and praise you guys myself, but we're not one of those, things. Got to put you in leadership. You did this. A recognition I do believe in. It's just not a lot of it. Maybe I do need to get more into recognition. But see, people like Joe who wrote a $200 a month, it was like, man, that was incredible, but I didn't put it up nowhere. But when Joe gets paid, he's gonna be like, oh my God, what in the world? Like, whoa, this is a great payday,
Money talks.
And he got more to do, And other CJ, she's writing these things every week. I mean, and you have agents out there, Ms. Barbara, you guys are out there. So I just want to say I appreciate this, that you guys are tapping into something that you've been sleeping on. Don't sleep on this. It's changing lives out there. People paying down their bills and catching up on things. So if you got some goals, some trips you want to do this summer, some things like that, 10 minutes, guys. Can you give yourself 10 minutes and put a couple apps in, and you will see it. And the second you do it, you're never going to go back. You're going to be like, that's it. That's it. I'm only writing this because the ease of doing it. Everyone else, I got to get payment. I got to go through this. This was simple. It has a great sizzle product, a great value prop. A great name, great carrier. How can you compete with this? The comorbidities are off the chain, guys, and a lot of health conditions. So we can bless people and get them first day approved with an MIB, which is just incredible. So I'm just going to end at that. Unless anyone else have any questions, Scott got anything to say? I know we went way over our time, but we're just so excited. So thank you guys for being on here.
I have a question. How do we order our the supplies, the forms, brochures, that type of stuff?
So now you have to, they just actually changed this, Bill. I haven't told you yet. This just went live, and I think they're going to now send out an email. You have to call our sales desk now. Our sales desk can order everything for you. So I'll put the number in the chat real quick for you. I think it was up there earlier, but just in case. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the feedback. Yes, I put the phone number in the chat for you. That's the number to our sales desk. If you need any literature, call that team. Tell them you want some stuff, some supplies sent out to you, and they can place that for you.
Yeah.
Get that estate planning checklist, trifold. Get that, and consumer brochures. Get that. Get some agent guides. I have them at the office. Agent guides, consumer brochures. But get the estate. You could order up to 50, I think, a day. Well, I was doing it because we're at table events and people are filling out. I'm collecting data. If I'll give out one if they give me their data, So use these type of grassroots techniques, guys, because people love it. I'm like, oh, is that a living will checklist and estate planning, trust, all that other stuff? Yeah, it's free, but it's not the real deal. We can get you the real deal. Make an appointment with me and come out and see you, get you out of your, or get you a better life insurance policy, hopefully, and then you could get the real deal and get an estate plan. So it's just great, guys. I mean, you're sitting on this. If you got to pay some rent, you got some bills to pay. 10 minutes. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, my new word is 10 minutes.
Hey, Bill.
I like that.
You got some things. 10 minutes. All right, give yourself 10 minutes.
Bill, what did you say the trifold order was?
The estate planning checklist. It's called estate planning checklist.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. They're beautiful.
And you mentioned the consumer brochure.
It's consumer brochure. Yeah, it
and
goes.
What was the third one? It was three things you said.
Agent guide. So you guys can get the health conditions and the height and weight. So you have that with you. I mean, you can pull it up electronically, but sometimes I just look at it and tell the clients, well, let me just see. Looks like right here, congestive heart failure is first day. Let's just see. Just run it. And I just check 10 minutes. Yep. Comes up, boom, it says congratulations. Imagine me a chat GPT, I'm telling you. When I see the congratulations, I think of AI because it's this little confetti that goes up and stuff. And I see it in AI, and I be sitting like, this is funny, it's doing that. You guys see that too, like on the iPhone, and you want to congratulate somebody and pops confetti. Anyway, you got to see it. So it's cool.
That's
I
awesome.
got to go pull my old red Transamerica shirts out I used to get back in the day when I was
there you go. Dust them off.
Yeah. Oh, we were writing so much, so we're back. Now we're writing that so much, again. So we're back, guys. Joe's back. Joe's a believer.
Love it.
There was agent guide, consumer brochure, and what's the third one?
Estate planning checklist.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Order that and bless some people with that. And if they want the real deal, it's just a checklist, but it keeps them on point. It just steers them in the right direction of what is will, healthcare directive, whatever. But it's a great tool to use to get data to set up some leads. I mean, I can email it to you too, Joy, as well. I mean, I downloaded it so I can email you a bunch of those documents, which once you get a writing number, you can order them. And it's great. It's very professional. It's in color. Everything is a great tool to have down at a conference, or you're doing a presentation, church, or something like that, or table event. It's great to put that down. They're like, what's this? I'm like, do you have a will and will power of attorney? I always say all three. They'd be like, I got a will. What type of will? You have a last will and testament. That's the full thing. No, I don't have that. I just got a simple will. Okay, so we need to get with you. Who do you have for life insurance? They'll name somebody. Okay, we'll set up an appointment. We'll come out and see you, and that's it. And give me 10 minutes. Now it's for real. Remember we said give me 10:50. Now it's for real. Give me 10 minutes. You can check. So anyway, thanks so much, guys.
Think, Bill. You said that once we have our writing number, you mentioned a second writing number. What was that for?
That's for agents or brokers who may have a Transamerica writing number now, and they're probably not writing us for some reason. They can join us and get another writing number, okay, with us if they choose to, and probably a higher contract, so they can join us and they can join all this grassroots and lead systems and generations that we have over here. Because wherever they at, if they haven't been doing it now, they're not going to do it. I mean, how do you not know of this? Okay, and maybe their contract's low, maybe they're LOA, maybe they're getting paid by the agency, something sucks, right? Not over here. You're a broker for real. So, and that's something you guys want. We have that here. So that's for people who already have a writing number. They can get another writing number. You already have a writing number, Pastor Brad.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to be
Hey,
ordering
Bill, I gotta skip to another
today.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. And we're gonna wrap this up, guys. Take care, guys. And we'll get this recorded as soon as Scott lets me know. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate the
information.
Thank you so much. Thank